So welcome everybody. This is Connecticut River Conservancy's annual meeting. My name is Stacy Leonard and I'm the events coordinator here at CRC. Annual meeting is a moment we take each year to bring together our members, partners, and friends to share our progress and vision for our rivers. We really wish we were out on the river with you as usual, but we're fortunate that these Zoom webinars have provided an opportunity to expand our reach throughout the geography of our watershed. We're also streaming live on Facebook today, so hello to all of our CRC friends wherever you're listening. Most of all, we hope that everybody is staying healthy and safe during these challenging times. We have planned an exciting and interactive program for you today that includes opportunities to vote in live polls and prompts that ask you to share your thoughts in the chat box. So again, if you're just joining us, take a moment to find the chat box at the bottom of your screen and say hello or any message you'd like to share. And we'll be asking you to do that periodically throughout the meeting. If you need any technical assistance, Aliki is behind the scenes as our Zoom wizard, and you can call her at our CRC office number, 413-772-2020, extension 207. We are recording this presentation for later access, and you'll get a follow-up email with the link to that. So to get us going, we want to ask you to complete our first poll and just tell us where you live in the watershed. So Aliki will light up the poll. Hit submit when you're ready. We'll give it 10 to 15 seconds. Why don't we show that poll results now? Great, so we have representation from all of our states, which is wonderful. Since our office is in Mass, we may be prioritizing there, but that's a great array of representation in the watershed. Now I'd like to introduce Andrew Fisk, CRC's enormously dedicated, talented, and tireless executive director of the last 9 years. He'll go over our agenda for the day and lead us through the program. So please welcome Andy.
Welcome everybody. It's terrific to be here, and we're sorry we're not in person. So we have a fun and engaging virtual meeting. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick river relay. We will be celebrating our volunteers. We will be honoring our Bud Foster awardees this year, and then we'll have some conversation about the future of our rivers. And then of course there is business for the organization, and that includes reviewing our finances and electing trustees. So we'll be doing this meeting with both staff, myself, and our board chair, Melody Fody, and trustee Peyton Shurick. So let's get going. So the first thing we wanted to do, since we couldn't be here, was actually have a river relay, and we're going to do this virtually. And I'm going to start this river relay with my river rock, and I'm going to be handing this off to Kelsey Frontline.
I love this work, not only because of the peace and respite that the river provides, but also the community meeting space where we've seen many partners and volunteer and community groups come together to passionately steward their stretch of the river, and without whom we couldn't do a fraction of the work that we do.
What excites me about working to protect the Connecticut River watershed, and really it's the watershed part of it that most excites me, it's when people realize that everything that we do on the landscape has an effect on the river, whether it's farming, building buildings, the way we fertilize our lawns, dealing with pet waste, everything has an impact on the river. And when people make that connection and realize they can make a difference for the river, that excites me.
The thing that I am most excited about with our work for the rivers is really the idea of the public trust doctrine and the fact that our rivers belong to all of us equally, And we all have a right to clean and healthy water, and we have a right to access that water.
I'm really proud of the work that we can do in collaboration with our partners around the watershed. I'm optimistic that this year we'll be able to pass a bill in Massachusetts that will require public notification when there are sewage spills going into our rivers. It's really important for us to know when it's not safe enough to recreate in our waters, especially now when everybody's getting outside a little bit more.
Hey everybody, it's CRC River Steward Ron Rhodes. I'm standing in the river today in Vermont, near a farm where we planted trees and shrubs several years ago. They've grown up nice, big, and tall to reduce stream bank erosion, increase fish and wildlife habitat, and improve water quality. I chose this spot as a good example of the restoration work that we've been doing thanks to your time and support. We couldn't have done it without you. And I'm really proud of the work we've done so far. 50,000 trees planted and 12 old dams removed, a number of other restoration projects. But most importantly, I'm really excited about the future. We have 50 restoration projects lined up in all 4 states, ready to go in the near future. With your help and our project partners, we'll make it happen, and we'll make spots like this even better for getting in the river.
There was our river relay, and I think what I'm very sure Ron has not submitted a reimbursement for a new cell phone, so I'm pretty sure he kept that camera out of the river. So for our chat, what we would like to know from you is what excites you about your rivers and how do you engage with them? So please use the chat and let's keep the conversations going. And now, the really fun part of our event is every year we like to celebrate our awesome volunteers, and I'm going to hand it over to Aliki Fournier, our ecology planner, to give us a great shout out for our volunteers.
Hello everyone, my name is Aliki and I am the ecology planner here at the Connecticut River Conservancy. And I'd like to take a moment to thank the volunteers who have participated in our community science programs, cleanups, and those in the office being data masters. Thank you to our tree planting crews. Over the years, you have planted over 40,000 trees. With your participation, you have restored old deadbeat dam sites and stabilized river banks to fight against erosion. One tree at a time, you have made our rivers healthier. Thank you to our migratory fish monitors, from looking out for blueback herring and alewife in muddy waters to investigating the mysterious sea lampreys and their nests in local streams and brooks. You have helped organizations and agencies like the CT Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and CRC analyze and improve fish passage systems of our watersheds. Without your help, we would be clueless to what's running up our rivers every spring. Thank you to our water chestnut poolers. Countless individuals and organizations have made it their summer goal every year to rid our waters of the invasive and fast-spreading water chestnut. Relentlessly, you came from all over the watershed to join us on your kayaks or canoes to help us save our waterways. Who knows what our rivers would look like today if it weren't for you. And thank you to our water quality monitoring volunteers. These dedicated volunteers have committed to help us test water samples from the river and its tributaries every spring, summer, and fall for harmful bacteria and pollutants. Thanks to your help, the entire watershed population has access to our results, informing them on the state of their favorite swim and paddle spots. You can find results at ctriver.org/isitclean or Está Limpio for the Spanish version. Thank you to our Trustee volunteers cleaning up our rivers for 23 years. Every year you impress us by growing in numbers and pulling more trash out than ever before. Of course, we'd rather see no trash in our rivers, but it's thanks to you that we have hope. And thank you to our data volunteers. Over the last several months, we've seen them wrangle and analyze valuable data to keep our organization flowing, especially during these challenging times. This organization is proud of what we have accomplished over the years and what we have planned for the future. But we owe a lot of our accomplishments to our volunteers for their restoration and conservation efforts and all of the hard work that they do for our community. On behalf of the Connecticut River Conservancy, its staff, board, membership, and the river, thank you! If you would like to join our EPIC volunteer team, visit us at ctriver.org for a list of opportunities we have to offer. That's all for now. Please answer the poll that I will launch in just a second, and let us know what your favorite way of volunteering with CRC is.
And as you're doing the poll, it's important to know that our community science and volunteer programs are closely coordinated with real science and management endeavors, and the state and federal agencies with whom we work rely on us to be able to bring them valuable information that supports their work directly. So that's a really important part of this work and something that we really celebrate in our coordination with our state and agency scientists, biologists, and management partners.
All right, and I'm gonna let the poll go for 10 more seconds. Alrighty. So it looks like a lot of you have participated in our Source to Sea cleanup. Thank you so much. And it looks like a good amount of you haven't had a chance to participate with us yet. So please email us at volunteer@ctriver.org and we'll get you in contact with one of our project managers. Thank you.
That's great. So now we're going to take it over to the other favorite part of our annual meeting, which is the celebration of the annual Bud Foster Award. So for many, many years, we have been celebrating outstanding service, devotion, and accomplishment for those people in the watershed who work with us in order to make our watershed better. And this award has been on for many, many years. Bud Foster was our original executive director. The award is celebrated by a silver loving cup that we keep in our office. And so, as you may recall, last year we celebrated Mickey Nowak, the wastewater treatment plant operator extraordinaire at the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission. And this year we have decided to make an awardee to many, many, many special people who have demonstrated outstanding service, devotion, and accomplishment. And this year's award goes to And so this year we decided that it was incredibly important, given the circumstances around the COVID-19 pandemic, to celebrate those environmental professionals who work in the over 100 wastewater treatment plants throughout the watershed. These environmental professionals are able to, with creativity, pluck, ingenuity, be able to make clean water and recover resources throughout the watershed. These typically unheralded and many unknown environmental professionals are at the business end of very, very complicated permits, and they are at the business end of, unfortunately, not enough investment in our infrastructure. And so they are incredibly creative, dedicated environmental professionals. And so we thank them particularly this year for their service during the pandemic and the extraordinary effort it took to maintain this critical infrastructure during these challenging times. And we look forward to continuing to celebrate the work of these environmental professionals moving forward and continue to make their work a special and public part of the improvement of our watershed. At this point, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we see the future of our rivers. Our organization is fortunate that we have been around since 1952. We are an old organization, and that has had the opportunity for us to think hard and work hard on behalf of our watershed. Just double checking. So, Stacy, just double checking the view. There we go. Thanks for bearing with us in our Zooming. All right. So the vision for our rivers. Our rivers, the vision for our rivers is informed by a changed climate. Our progress and our failures dealing with a changed climate thoroughly defines the field of view for the vision for our rivers. Our vision for our rivers includes a vision for millions and millions of migratory fish that are moving thousands of miles through open and healed waterways. Our vision includes seeing all water, however it reaches our rivers, that is clean and healthy. And it's clean and healthy because we've taken action to make it so, or we've never done something bad to it in the first place. Our vision includes a clean water infrastructure of plants, pipes, and people that's seen as critical infrastructure, and that we invest in it generously, continually, and strategically so that it continually improves and outpaces our abilities to unfortunately find new ways to pollute, which seem to emerge every other day. Our vision includes one of wastewater treatment plants that continue their work to become energy efficient and then fully transform themselves to become models of actually energy generation and places that capture more resources that are returned to our soil and replace mining of fossil phosphate and the energy hogging creation of artificial nitrogen fertilizer. We want to see our wastewater treatment plants become more than just places that make clean water, but that are fully resource recovery facilities. And where our rivers continue to generate electricity, that hydropower plants operate with an ever diminishing ecological footprint, and the costs of hydropower diminish, and they operate more in harmony as best they can with our migratory fish and our aquatic habitats. Our vision also includes that environmental organizations like ours work harder to listen and understand how discrimination, racism, and economic inequality have meant that our public trust resources are not equally accessible to everyone, and that we see equitable access to a clean, healthy environment that is full of life, that is core to our mission. And because we know that ecological abundance creates economic abundance, that abundance must be available to everyone. So while we see these ideals in our future, what we see right now today are tremendous personal, institutional, economic, and political challenges. And as we've navigated these challenges now, many of us have struggled with loss or fear or anger. And these have been truly unprecedented times. And our thoughts are with everyone as they have worked to manage through this pandemic. And I know that I personally have struggled with loss and fear and anger. And now, while we know that water has tremendous power, so too do words. And there are many places to turn to take comfort from the power of words. And I go at times to the poet, farmer, and activist Wendell Berry and his thoughts on the peace of wild things. And Wendell Berry writes, "When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. And for a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free." And I share these words with you so that you also are able to enjoy the grace of the world and feel free when you are challenged during these times. And so, yes, there are tremendous headwinds that we face, but when we see the vision for our organization and the future of our rivers, we are inspired and we are grateful. We are inspired every time we hear from you. We are inspired every time we open the mail. We are inspired when you challenge us to do better and different, and we are incredibly grateful. And the force of that inspiration and that gratitude is what carries us forward and knows that we will continue for decades and decades forward in order to implement this ambitious vision for our rivers. Because that's where we started from in 1952, an ambitious vision for our rivers. And we are honored to be able to carry that work forward with you. Thank you. Let's transition over and start. Oh, sorry. We do have more chat. So please tell us what your vision is for us and our work together. And let's keep the chat going. So let's transition now over to the finance part of our conversation. Our bylaws do tell us that to our members, we need to report to you at an annual meeting how the organization's fuel is being earned and expensed. And so what you see here is a summary, and this summary information is dated as of the end of May of this year. And so this summary chart, you'll see the graphics there. You may have seen this in some of our other reports. We have those canoes that show you how we allocate our money as far as how it comes in income and then how it is expensed. And I think the summary is we are doing very, very well. Over time, you as our members have continued to more generously support our work. And members support our work with small contributions and large contributions, and all of them are powering this organization. As we are going into the next fiscal year, which begins July 1, we do understand that there is a tremendous amount of uncertainty, and we will be planning to manage this organization moving forward. And we are heartened by what we have seen this year from our members' support. We have seen that you have stepped up and continued to support our work amidst this uncertainty, and we are tremendously grateful for that support. And what we have also seen, and we celebrate and support, is many of our foundations who support our work, they have appropriately pivoted to support emergency and urgent needs for COVID response. And we celebrate that transition, and we recognize that that will be a challenge for us moving forward into fiscal year 21 as we continue to engage with our foundation support, because as you can see, it does bring a lot of fuel to this organization alongside what you as members do. So we are incredibly fortunate for your support. The organization continues to be strong and healthy, and year on year, revenue continues to grow. And as you've seen, that revenue goes directly out the door to real environmental, recreational improvements for our watershed. So thank you very much for your support. If you'd like more information, you can go to our website. The detailed financial statements, as well as the IRS 990 tax forms, are available on our website. So please do feel free to dive into the weeds. And if you have questions on how we use your money for our work, please do get in touch. So now I'd like to turn it over to Melody Foti, our board chair, for some of the board business.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm so pleased to have such a wonderful turnout for our first ever virtual annual meeting. We were nearing 100 when I last checked, and it's very gratifying. So another year is coming to a close, and once again, I would like to thank our awesome, hardworking, and passionate staff, plus our very dedicated board of trustees. This June, I have reluctantly accepted David Mears' resignation. David has served on the board since 2015, and although he will be leaving, I know David will continue to support our mission in many ways. His regular job as Executive Director of Vermont Audubon has given him extra duties in this time of COVID. We will miss his thoughtful, analytical mind, his expertise in environmental law, and his passionate heart. It is also time for me to recognize two trustees who will continue to serve on the board but step down from the executive committee. David Hewitt has served as vice president, and Laura Wondolowski has served as secretary for the past 2 years while I have been president. Both of them have given me invaluable insights, with Dave having been a leader in the for-profit world and Laura having a wealth of understanding of the not-for-profit arena. I'm sure both Dave and Laura will continue to have crucial input for us regardless of their formal titles. And now I'm turning it over to Peyton on who's our chair of governance on our new trustees.
Hello and good afternoon. Thank you, Melody. As mentioned, my name is Peyton Schubrick. I'm a trustee leading the governance committee. As we think about governance, we wanted to ensure that our selections help to fill gaps currently present in our board and that these individuals brought unique skills to make us even better. Shortly, you'll see a poll on your screen, you'll see a poll on your screen to confirm the new and returning officers that Melody mentioned, and to confirm 2 prospective board members. These individuals are Allison Brinkman and Damon DePaulo. Allison currently resides in Essex, Connecticut. She has board experience that ranges from the Connecticut River Museum, Sisters of Cities Essex Haiti, and the Rotary Club of Essex. She is a strong advocate for collaboration and is passionate about climate change, human actions, ecosystems, and waterways. Damon currently resides in Barkhamsted, Connecticut. He works at Mass Mutual in the cybersecurity space and is passionate about the environment as we think about that in its relation to technology. His board experience includes volunteering with Boy Scouts of America, being a volunteer firefighter, and a volunteer for the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. I hope that you find these 2 prospect board members to be as valuable as I do and vote to elect them to the board.
And Peyton, do you want to review, and we review the returning trustees?
Oh, yes. We'll also have returning Melody Foti, Bob Moore, Ron Poltok, and Annette Spalding. You should see the poll now, and if you're as confident as I am, you should vote yay for all of these nominees. Thank you.
This usually goes a lot quicker when we're in person because everybody raises your hand. So thank you for scrolling through and using the technology. And a big shout out to Stacy Aliki for producing this show. We're all learning how we have this new technology and these tools available to us. So. Great. So it looks like we have a successful election. So welcome to our new trustees, Allison and Damon, and our returning trustees, Melody, Bob, Ron, and Annette.
Yes, thanks to all for participating and voting. And we'll move on to our next segment.
Great. So this actually brings us to the close of our first virtual annual meeting. Thank you all for attending. And I think what I would like to do is give a particular shout out again to Stacy and Aliki for helping to produce this, as well as Melissa Vanek for helping with the film and the river relay. It is a little disheartening that you can't see all the staff at our annual meeting this time, but I do want to thank the whole team at the Connecticut River Conservancy. I'm incredibly grateful to work with all of you, and I'm also incredibly grateful for our board. We have a tremendous board that is active, engaged, and takes their stewardship of this organization tremendously seriously. And that will continue to have this organization grow sustainably throughout the next decades as we meet our vision. And Melody, did you have any closing words before I wrap things up?
All set. Wonderful, wonderful meeting. Thank you.
Great. So just in closing, I was thinking a little bit about how it is that we move about on our rivers. So as a closing thought, I think about those of us who are on their motorboats, looking forward, driving full speed ahead, and those of us that are paddling and taking it slow and moving forward on our motive force and looking forward. And sometimes there are rowers who are rowing on our rivers, using again their motive force and looking backwards. So sometimes we are looking forward and moving fast. Sometimes we are looking forward and paddling slow. Other times we're looking backwards at the work that we have accomplished. And other times we're fighting the current, and other times we're going with the flow. So I think all of those times and ways that we move about on our rivers are illustrative of what our work can feel like at different times. So sometimes we're going to move really fast. Sometimes it's going to be a slog. Sometimes we're with the current, and sometimes we are against. But I know with all of us together, we're going to continue to make a difference. And we are tremendously grateful again for your support. So thank you, everybody. And what typically happens at the end of our annual meetings is we have the membership portion of the meeting finishes up, and then the Board of Trustees, both new and returning and existing trustees, will stay on the line, and we will have a business meeting. And yes, Ron, sometimes you are waiting and trying not to fall over. And I'm not going to complete a reimbursement for that cell phone you dropped in the river.